All right, here we go again. Just a reminder, you do your job in a neutral fashion. Don't be an immigrant basher on the street, right? Because that's where our lawsuits will come from, and then we'll have to be fighting those things, and there may be a remedy they require, and that's going to be something we have to do. And so again, be neutral. It's nothing personal. You're there to arrest, investigate, arrest, detain, and deport, and that's it. You're not judge, jury, and executioner. Always remember that in law enforcement. People that are corrupt, they think they're judge, jury, and executioner. That's how they become that corrupt deep state. Thank you, Larry. So again, it's not going to benefit us for you to go hard when you don't have to go hard. Even, I guess if you need to go hard, you go hard, right? But you just don't need to go hard. No, you just unless something comes up, right? Thank you, Larry. It's a lot less like all this ammunition now against the administration, needlessly. I mean, they're going to claim the law where they're allowed to fire FBI agents and DOJ people, but it's all. I don't even know what government this guy worked in. It makes no sense. Everybody in government knows you don't do it that way. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. Everybody knows how to fire people, right? I mean, I knew how to fire people. I guess Goose didn't know how to fire. Once I showed him. I guess I didn't show him. I just did it. I said, I took care of it. He said, what? Did you call headquarters? No. No. Well, we could articulate an exigent circumstance to a certain degree, but I was like on leave for a day for some reason. I don't remember what it was. I come back and Goose fired a CSO. But we could articulate an exigent circumstance. So, right. But it's better not to have to. Again, the more of that you have to do, the less successful we are. Right. But it doesn't make any sense because that's not how you do it. Again, the court, the argument can be made, and the court's going to probably draw. It probably has already drawn this inference. Again, I'm in with the court. I can't get anywhere, but I can hear the court, right? And again, I have interaction, psychic interaction. Somewhere in the court, and it's a large number, they've drawn the inference that you purposefully violated the law just so you could send that message stronger than you would have the other way. So in other words, if you went through the real process of firing these people, you probably could have done it, but it wouldn't have been as loud and as boisterous and sure. Probably shouldn't have bothered me this morning, all of you. Because you're making yourself stupid. And I don't know if that person's stupid because of it, but your machine is attacking me, whoever you are. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, because it's the idea is this: there's retaliation, a secret retaliation, shadow retaliation, and then there's open, and you decide to do it openly. Well, I think you're thinking that the president can do whatever the president wants, and that's not true. Like, you're going to say, well, the president wanted this. No, it doesn't help you. I got no clue what you're all doing. It makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Well, what you're actually doing is the reverse of what you think you're doing. You're actually making those agents and those attorneys bigger, and they have more say, more protection. Like, after this is all said and done, you probably can't fire them without the court finding it retaliation. which makes you think you have somebody steering you in the wrong direction. But I don't know. I'm not there. But purposefully. That's what it seems like. It's that bad. I mean, that guy Diggs, I guess, or Driz. Driz, I guess it is. Driz was trying to help you. Again, they were talking about, he's going out on a limb and Trump's going again, but he was trying to help all of you. Right? But he was trying to say it, diplomatically, so you wouldn't attack him. So he really went out on a limb for you. Well, there's usually a process for this thing, and well, you're making statements that you can't make. Like I tried to use the trans thing so you would understand how it works. Just because somebody completes an assignment that they're given doesn't give you the right to say that they lack something. Well, the court would tell you that if you don't think people that prosecuted Trump can work under Trump, which is probably not true. I was a big Republican conservative back when it was real, not this fake shit. And I worked for Clinton like nothing else. Right. I mean, I didn't work for Clinton, but I worked for his administration, right? Because I'm just in the government. I'm not. The president doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, yeah, we were like talking about him, but wasn't like I do my job any differently. Now we were back then. I think we were pretty hardcore Republican. I know we were at Fort. Most of us on the shift at Fort Dix prison there. Right. We were always talking about. We had like one Democrat on our shift. We didn't hate him or anything. We'd razz him. He'd razz us. I think the lieutenant, who's now was a captain, he's probably maybe even a warden now. I don't. But he, McDonald, he was Republican. We used to make jokes and stuff. Right. He was either from Texas or Florida or somewhere down south, I think. He was a good guy. Right. So, again, you're making statements that the facts are not in evidence, and I know you don't have the facts. Again, what you said about trans people, those facts they're unattainable until each person, you have to look at each person before you can make that statement, and then that shows that you actually discriminated against them based upon being trans. You inferred they have bad character, which it's unlawful. It's unlawful. And even if they do, again, it's unlawful. You're not allowed to do it. You have to prove it. Right. Well, I know what you're going to say. It's because they're acting like a woman and they're not a woman. Well, they have gender dysphoria and they're doing what the treatment plan says. I mean, that's it. I mean, like I told you, you're like in this MAGA land. I think spies operated you before you were elected, and it made you all crazy, and now you're doing all this stuff. Because we can't pull you out of it. I don't know if people hear my stuff, but I think, Driz said enough. I think it's Driz. Is it Driz? What's his name? I have to look it up. Because it doesn't make any sense. You can't do what you're all doing. Like I said, I don't know what kind of government Bo was in, but I never, like I said, Rick Guzman did something that was kind of out there, but it wasn't that, you know, wasn't that far out there. Like he knew the next day he had to approach me and we had to figure it out. Right. And again, it wasn't, he described an exigent circumstance. It's just still, you just call headquarters and they handle most of it. That's the first thing you have to do. Right. You have to fax your reports. I think we had a fax report to the employer, the contractor or something too. Right. But that's where it starts. Make your phone call. Yeah, but see, everything you're doing is antithesis to what you want to do. It's the opposite. It's going to bring about the opposite result. Right. They're going to be golden when you're all done. Now, I don't know if they want to stay or what. The court might actually order some conditions of employment off of this. Right. Which means by the time you get to the end, you not. Right. And then once that's entered into the order, they can hold you in contempt and then put you in jail if you arrest them. And then if you send them to a dirty assignment, I mean, this is going to be crazy. Like I said, I saw like when I read that about Elon, again, I guess that's something, but I saw, Chief Justice kind of flash in front of my face. It's not an imagination. It's what the system, I'm a seer, so I get the messaging. Especially when people feel strongly about something, the message increase. So the court's sending messaging. Just because, again, he's sending the messaging, but he's hoping that Elon and Bove receive the messaging. He doesn't want it to have to get into the court. Right. He'd rather be taken care of beforehand. And Thomas is in there going, there are others that want it taken care of. No, because it's making a mess. I mean, those people are probably going to receive judicial protection. Because they'll petition the court for it. It's just how that works. And again, I don't even think they have to, tell you the truth. Because you didn't, the way you did it is obvious, all of you. You're doing two things. You're retaliating and you're trying to send a message of, I don't know what it would be, but just like an oppressive message that, hey, don't even think about it. Right. It's like the next step past retaliation. Like, for you, all you that haven't retaliated, look what happened to them. You'll be next. Right. That's unlawful. Thanks, Larry. No. Okay, so the president can do these things, but he's not allowed to violate employment laws. Right. And he's not allowed to retaliate. That's the basic thing in government. There's actually a prosecutor out there that's not controlled by the president. That may be able to move into this. I don't know. Well, because of the retaliation. It's just a question as to whether... Well, the court's definitely going to be upset that there's nobody to prosecute retaliation based upon the outcome of the election. So I don't know what they're going to do. They can only do so much. Right. Well, because you're dismantling checks and balances. And there's actually a checks and balances in the government. Like I told you before, agents can't, and all, people that are employees can't accept unlawful orders. That's why there's a protection of that. That if you try to do something to them for stopping that unlawful order, then you can get prosecuted by the independent prosecutor. Now the question is how the court will react if that happened and then you pardoned everyone. So again, we're getting to the point of calculated criminal pardons, criminally intended pardons. I mean, this is really where we're getting to. So those pardons might be all written. Those type of pardons, they might just quash a ton of pardons. Now, I don't know if J6 can be considered that. But again, if you collect all the names of the J6 investigators, then there's big questions in the court as to what you're actually doing. Because remember, they sat in front of judges, and judges ruled on these cases. So you're collecting names. That's, again, you're retaliating. You're sending messages past retaliation. Like, don't even think you'll be next. That's past retaliation. Right. That's like strong arming. Extorting or something. I don't know. Like, just look at what it would be. Like terroristic threats, I guess, or something. Right. Well, they're protected from that. Well, like I said, the court might just start screwing you all from day one to the last day in office. Right. But personally, I don't believe after 2 years that you'll still be in power like that. Right. Well, I guess you still would be. Right. I have to look at that. Right. I think they might pick up impeachment power. The question is whether they can flip the Senate also. They'll probably flip the House. I mean, that's probably a no-brainer. Well, you're dropping in favorability. I mean, we have to look at it again, I guess, because you reversed a couple of your decisions. So again, get serious and get away from the bullshit. I don't think federal judges will let you fire those people. They might actually order protection for them, like, job protections. So that if you violate the job protections, then they can, because again, it's the only way for them to do this is put you in contempt of court to get anywhere. Right? Nobody's left to investigate anything. Which would most likely at some point down the road, I'm getting older. I don't know if I'll be alive to see it or not. Again, I have some years left, but, I'm pretty healthy except for this other thing. Right. They might actually do something to create something if the president is the party, the House and the Senate of the party, there's very little left. Right. So they might, there might be a situation where a judge needs to order an investigation. They might put it at the Supreme Court level, where the Supreme Court can order an investigation, right? An independent counsel. I never let my life go anywhere, man. And then you always have to fight them, and you can't think about your own life. And it isn't a choice. I mean, it's because if you make the choice not to focus on them, they increase it. And again, they're increasing the spending of government money, of private sector money, of criminal enterprise money. Right. Well, because they're in the thing. You make money from the thing, so you put into the thing when they come along and ask you to put money in the thing or to make a false statement, that kind of thing. That's how it works. That's how deep state works. Thank you, Larry. I mean, that's generally how people make their money. They're corrupt for their system. And they recruited law enforcement officers to do the same thing. But they're actually working for external systems, not governmental systems. I mean, their physical job is, but that's like their side job, working for the government. Really, it is. They got bosses. Sometimes it's a politician, sometimes it's a corporate leader. Well, I'm still trying to get you all to back you all down so we don't have them grabbing you out of your cars and your houses in the street and killing you all. At a certain point, they're going to start recording your names. And I was told they already recorded some of the names. And it's not in official channels. It's on, people have your names on it. So if it ever comes down to it, you're on their list. The people are keeping watch lists now. Not all the cops are into it, believe me. Some of the cops are part of the people. And they passed your names. I mean, deep state controls Kansas, but there's another entity here, like with the people, that's out of power. And it doesn't mean it's Republican or Democrat. Again, it doesn't have to be any of the above. Right. Thank you, Larry. They're trying to make me afraid to order something from Amazon. But it caused a whole bunch of other consternation. Thank you, Larry. Trying to make some rice here. Side dish. Or actually a saucy dish. So, like, is his name Driz? I think. I gotta look it up. But he could. What you got to do is you have to you have to try to design a protocol for a large scale hostage situation. Maybe that also could be a military situation. And it's just a massive operation where, like, even like if it involves the president, rusing and all of that, if necessary. Again, right. So everybody has their part to play, and they have to control their emotion around it, right? And if they have to act contrite, then they act contrite. If they have to act angry, they have to act angry. If they have to act happy or relaxed or whatever it is. Again, speaking about like maybe even multinational activity, like you get somebody, somebody from another nation, a third nation, to say something and do something because they're part of the effort to free the hostages, but may not even look like it, right? Because whatever the mission requires there. Oh, you tried to trigger me this morning. You got what you deserve. And then they tried to hide it like it was just an accident. Right. Right. Well, because we could see if we can get at least some of the hostages released through some sort of sleight of hand. Right. Thanks, sorry. Well, it's just like in law enforcement, you know. Israel used to handle it a little different. Like we got forever to deal with it. Right. We just want to get the hostages released. Right. I'm going to try to contain the situation, but we could maybe let it just kind of go for a while until we get everybody safe. I mean, politics, is one thing. Again, that's why, and essentially that should be in the protocol that people that are real close should be, advised that their decision making is going to be inhibited because they're gonna have strong feelings, right? So essentially, that's what we had. We had the people that were tasked with coming up with the best plan were too close to the thing, and again, the political turmoil that their minds were going through because it was on their watch. Right. So part of the whole thing, that the package or whatever you develop to do it, has to include statements of psychology and again, explanations of psychology of people that are victims, so that the people that are victims in decision that are part of the decision making process should understand that they either want to improve their view by countering their thoughts, with self realization procedures or methods, right, to understand what their mind is and what's actually going on, right, or let somebody else make decisions. Again, visibly they could be looking like they're making the decisions, but they might want to defer it to somebody that's not as affected. Well, Netanyahu was in no condition to make decisions. It's too close to it. Well, yeah, he might decide, no, I want to make a decision, but at least you put it in his head that he has to look at his decisions a little closer. Now, based upon what I've been able to do recently for my body, I believe 4 years ago I could have healed, but I just needed that space. Right. Like what they're doing on Amazon by altering my ability to order things is trying to trigger my mind back through all of it. Because, see, they're doing this along while they're torturing me and all that. What they want to say is, if you didn't commit the crime, it wouldn't be torture. That's bullshit. When you destroy somebody's family, their career, right, cause physical disability. No. Obviously, in the beginning, they had no ability to affect my decision making. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I mean, I was drugged. Right. A nice curry sauce, some basmati rice and peas. Peas actually have protein. So peas are also a protein dish. I was shocked I couldn't get well. I was really shocked. Now again, there is evidence that I was getting well in Garland, and they started putting those socks in my laundry. This could have been a drug. People need to be destroyed, whoever they are. It would have been absolutely different. Absolutely different. But again, it goes back even further than that. Well, that's delicious. A little bit of spice. Well, I use a buttered chicken sauce. Well, I don't eat chicken. Creamy and sweet with light spices. Definitely can feel the burn. Right. That was delicious. Fabulous sauce. The rice is delicious. That royal basmati is great. I used to overcook it. I finally learned. Right. It's very short. Generally, you heat it for 5 minutes, and then, I usually wait a couple more minutes, and then I take off the pressure thing. They say to let it naturally decompress, but I found that, to do that, you really want to drop it to like 2 minutes. Right? But it works fine. I do like 5, 6 minutes. Let it go a couple more minutes, and then pull the steam thing off. Well, but you see, okay, so the president, let's say your finding is that these people can't work for President Trump administration because of a case they settled. I don't think that's provable, but let's say you say that. And then President Trump's allowed to get rid of them because that's his authority. You actually have to prove it. You can't just say it. There is no unrebuttable presumption of that nature. You can't prove it. You didn't wait to do any type of study. Now, what makes it worse is the person that's ordering the firing is Trump's personal attorney that sat across the table from these people. I mean, the judges have been around a while, a lot of them. They've seen this. Maybe not as blatant, maybe. I'm just trying to tell you that I don't know what, there is no, like, you can't stop the president from firing somebody. That doesn't exist until it's a lawful process. Well, we can't prosecute them. That doesn't mean that you'll prevail in a civil proceeding. Make it learn. But again, you have to be careful you don't overstep that. Because you have Bove and President Trump conspire to commit a crime for the sake of committing a crime, then that's not covered by the immunity. I describe it like this, just so it could be obvious. If they conspired to rob a bank and rob a bank, there's no immunity. And you could say, well, we regulate banks. No. Bove and President Trump cannot go out and rob a bank and say that they're covered by presidential immunity. The president is covered because that's part of his business as president. But he's not covered from criminally intentioned acts. Now, again, somebody would have to prove that. So here's an example. There's a wiretap somewhere. And Bove and Trump come up on the wiretap. Or a camera, what do they call that? A surveillance camera. Right. And they articulate a criminal intention, then you're not covered. If the court finds that Bove acted based upon criminal intention, he can be prosecuted. Now, at this point, there's nobody to prosecute, but the court could say, do it again, and we'll hold you in contempt. Which apparently is up to 6 months in prison or in jail. The president can't pardon him, I don't think. No, he can't. Right. But again, you're putting yourselves in jeopardy. You're putting the work in jeopardy. And I don't know if there's anybody that can take these people's place to begin with. You're putting the nation in jeopardy. Again, I asked you not to do it. I don't know if anybody's got my message to them or not. So although Trump and the Republicans control a bunch of things, you'll probably see things coming from the courts because of the posture you all took. Not political, all of it. Some of it's just protecting the country and protecting the government employees from retaliation. You'll see things where the court will order you something. And, if you violate it, they'll hold you in contempt and put you away for 6 months because nobody else is going to do it for the next so many years until something changes. Well, I was thinking maybe the House could. I don't think the House can order. And once upon a time, I think the House could order an independent counsel. Now they can just request prosecution or something. I'm not sure. I have to look up the independent counsel laws. Right. Once upon a time, the House. I think Star Wars was put into action by the House. Larry. But again, the court probably, again, because I'm receiving, the court's probably thinking there's nobody to hold them accountable. We're going to have to do it, and we're going to have to demand things. And if they violate it, put them in contempt and put them in jail for 6 months. And I guess maybe if you change, they let you back out. But then again, I think contempt of court, they can sentence you to a time period, right? 100%. So again, maybe the traditional contempt where you do what they want and then they let you back out might be out the window. Violate it in contempt and they'll put you away. I'm sure of it. I know what I'm saying. You've already seen the judges just handed Proud Boys or whatever it is over to the church, the Methodist Church. I mean, they're trying to message all of you. Well, the key is there's a way to do it and a way not to do it. I'm not telling you you're going to get away with it by doing it the way you can do it. Well, because it's like the extra step. What you're all doing is an extra step in retaliation. Like, very blatant. Like, when people take office all the time, people are put out. But they do it there's a plan to do it and a way to do it so that nobody can fight it. The person can't fight it too easy. But you can't actually do that now because you've already went public with retaliation. I mean, it's retaliation. The court's not going to find anything else. Even gathering the names is dangerous. Well, yeah, like I said, you have to understand, the court already sat on that case. You tried to dismiss the other case also, and it couldn't be dismissed. Right? But again, you're living in some MAGA fantasy of election. You got elected. There was no real MAGA mandate. There was a mandate, but you lost part of that mandate already. Now, as far as the Palestinians going to a third country, maybe if you paid, I know that Saudi Arabia was going to do $6 billion. You're probably going to pay them $12 billion for them to take them all. They might do it for $12 billion. See? So, again, nobody wants to take them. You've made some enemies with that statement. So maybe you know something. Maybe you'll have enough money, you'll pay some money, and they'll take the Palestinians. Well, if you provide, in essence, let's say Jordan will say, "I'll take this many. You give me this much money." If you present enough money for a controlled situation, they might do it. Turkey might take some. They all might take some if you fund a new life for these people. Now, it's going to take a lot because they don't believe that these people should be disturbed from where they believe their homeland is. Well, because at a certain point, it would be pointless to force the Palestinian issue into Israel. Because you could, I mean, if they, I don't know what the money amount is. I mean, it could be a lot of money. I don't know. Right. But if Turkey could build a life for, you know, I don't even know what the numbers are. I have to look at it again. But let's say 15,000 or 20,000 Palestinians, that makes sense. They might do it. Right. And welcome them into their nation and build them. They could build them a whole new city and call it Palestine. Palestine, Turkey. I brought this up before. I know Hashem accepts people moving, but it, you know, it has to be the right situation, right? Hashem's the one that that instructed Sabbatai Zevi to go to the Sultan of Oman and the Oman Empire. Right. And he said, "Fine, say you're Muslim." I'm Muslim, but of course they found that he wasn't Muslim, right? It's one of Hashem's scams. Because in the end, they found out he was practicing Jewish stuff. So he said, "Okay, I'm Muslim," and then he went off as a rabbi and did his rabbi stuff. So again, there is a viable pathway for the Palestinians to be transferred to several nations. You know, Jordan, Turkey, and I don't know what other nations would take them that are peaceful and well. Maybe even Saudi. I don't know if they. I guess it's Sunni, Shia. I got to look at that. It's like crazy. So some that, you know, you could fund, even, like I said, a new city for these people. And that might be the answer. And they could live in peace. But again, you're looking at not spending money. So again, I don't, you know, Uncle Elon. You know, I was saying Uncle Elon, I didn't realize there was like an 18-year-old involved. Or whatever age he is, 19, I don't know. It's his Uncle Elon. And Uncle Peter. See, but he's just like Elon. That's what happened for Elon. They made him at a young age. Right. Anyway. Well, the judges are already showing that they're going to rebel against MAGA land. Right. You might have some judges that are in your court, but some of these cases they can't help you on. Right. And of course, the Democrats aren't going to take them to your judges to get the restraining orders. Right. So that's the part of conservatism that you don't get, is that the liberals can be boisterous and radical, and conservatives are supposed to be quiet and reserved. And based upon that less friction, that less this, generally the markets will thrive and capitalism will thrive. Right? There's not as much negativity bouncing around. Actually, liberals aren't supposed to cause negativity either, but now they've become more radicalized. Boy, it's like so overcast out there. Right. Wait for my shoes. Thank you, Larry. Well, I want a government that works for the people, regardless of who's running it. Right. And you're going outside where again people may not care that you fire them, but the things that are going to happen off of that could and will most likely inhibit the other things we want to do for the people. And again, the idea of this friction. Again, people get spooked in investing. I told you want white puffy clouds. What's going on now is not white puffy clouds. So what Elon was doing, he was othering the government employees. Again, that's what they called it, when they said that to the Palestinians. And then when, what was her name? When the young girl came along, she had a different face. And they couldn't other her. Right. She wasn't a Hamas member. She was just, shame on you. Right. So they tried, it's a psyop to try to get everybody to hate somebody. And then, you do whatever you want to them, but I don't think we're there. Well, because it's kind of again, I don't even know why people know what you're doing. You're not doing the way you're supposed to do it. You should have security officers. You should have your own government-based security officer. It could be a private contractor. It could be a MAGA person even. But they should have been there with Elon to vouch for what was going on. Your team can't vouch for what's going on. They're not an expert. Elon's obviously not an expert. This is one of the things they complained about his operation. They were saying he should have had more sanctions because he's not operating based upon the requirements of government. And you know what? I'm just going to put this out there. He may be getting backed by foreign nations because he's exposing our data based upon his lack of security at his corporations. Like, they may be laughing because China might be sitting back collecting all the information from SpaceX. So like NASA used to have it maybe tight enough where they couldn't get it. And then he comes in and obviously they said he wasn't meeting the requirements. So now every federal agent, and I don't know if the CIA office is in there. They may have, because it may not even say they're CIA. It could be in there, maybe under some code or something. I don't know. But every federal agent's in those databases. Well, the first part is Elon hates government employees more than he probably tells us. But he has there's a case history of anger against agents. Don't look at me. I'm not in these databases. All right. Thank you, Larry. I agree. And we don't know who the other people are. And they've had some information. They're dangling it out there. I know they got more information. I mean, for all we know, they've trafficked in narcotics. If they find a few people that bought narcotics from these kids, it's over. Because you just gave them the name of every DEA agent in the United States, or access to it. I'm not saying they have it, but I mean, you're telling us that you're trying to tighten up narcotics distribution and get it handled, and our people off of drugs. But what are you really doing? Trump said that Elon can't do anything they don't let him do. Well, do you really know what he's doing? There's nobody watching him. There's no security officer from the Trump administration watching the program. I mean, for all we know, those DEA agents are now in Mexican cartel custody. And even if he tried not to let that happen, it could still happen. Well, because there's a required protocol. Again, I'm just trying to get you to stop the madness before it blows up. Well, if Elon's not mature enough, the administration should be mature enough to call Ratzinger, say I want two the best security minds in the industry. You can hire him to work for Elon if that's again. I don't want him to have issue with CIA employees or anything like that and try to fire them because they'll tell their bosses they don't want to go near it. Right. But he can give you the name. The CIA people can give you the name of one or two people, maybe even 5 people, to watch the whole operation from different angles. That will ensure that Elon doesn't mess up. I mean, he's like a kid with crayons writing on the wall. And his mother's got to come and clean up the mess later. So again, there's ways to handle this. I don't know what you're all doing. Do you have anybody left that can do anything? Or I guess everybody's afraid to say anything. Right. There's no reason that you can't hire your security people to watch it and watch the operation to make sure. Because what if it does get out? What if there is a leak because he's doing something stupid? What are you going to say then? Every agent in the world sues you and quits. And the court orders you to pay each one of them $1 million. Where's your budget then? Thousands and thousands of agents. Tried to tell you this wasn't Argentina. I mean, they sat back and fantasized that they were going to do Argentina here. Look, the Democrats are playing a game. They're telling you they're going to do something, but they're not doing anything, right? Why? Because they don't want you to stop. They want you to continue. Thank you, Larry. Again, I think Mr. Ratcliffe knows the issues. That's why I bring him up. Well, why would he say something? He could lose his job, or you put him out in the worst assignments the world can find. He won't help him when he asks you for help. I mean, so again, the people are playing politics. They're not bad people. They're not trying to hurt the president, but they can't say anything to help the president. That's why I'm here. No, because I'd like to see President Trump succeed. I'd like to see El Salvador succeed. I'd like to see Mexico succeed. Inside of my being with God are millions and millions of people that are suffering. And they depend on the success of those governments and the success of the operations we've planned. Well, I don't know what you expect the judges to do in the end. These cases existed. These cases went through several court processes. They never went to conviction. You're going to use that again? Or actually, the other side used that. On the on that immigrant. It's kind of like, well, it never went to conviction. Well, we didn't go for conviction because why? Like I said, Trump wasn't going to go to jail. Nobody's going to put him in jail unless he got stupid, right? But why did the one not go to conviction? Because he FTA'd. He didn't show up for the court, or he'd have been convicted, or pled guilty, or had a deferment. He probably would have had a deferment. Wouldn't even the thing would have been blotted out. Well, I don't know. I guess it's a 50-50. Well, because he was an immigrant, they might have an issue with it. Right? May not give them the deferment. I don't know. But that's generally where those cases go. Retail theft in Chicago goes to deferment, which means you do some community service and they erase the charge. So again, I'm telling you this why? Because I'm your friend. The court itself is going to reason similar to me. And if you find one of your judges, that's fine, but it ends in the Supreme Court and they're not all there. You have two judges that are probably yours. As far as those type of cases. Again, I try to explain to you that all the judges love government employees because they work with government employees all the time. Right. I mean, again, I have discussion in the mind with whoever, I don't know who they are, but at this point they said Judge Cannon did Trump a disservice to a certain degree. Again, right. Well, because Judge Cannon is few and far between, and a lot of what she did was struck down. A couple of things were struck down, and then the rest wasn't tested. This is the problem: is you're believing things that were never tested in court over here. So the topic kind of was that Judge Cannon caused some false beliefs in the Trump people. So now they're making mistakes that are probably more detrimental than would have been. Now, again, Trump may have been convicted if she didn't do that. I don't know. Like I said, he wasn't going to jail. So really, both sides owe me money. I've helped both political parties. I've actually helped all political parties, even ones outside of those two. Right? But what I'm doing now by doing this is helping you both. Well, because the Democratic Party benefits from no friction also. But again, if there's friction, then there's pushback. Or if there's an attack, then there's pushback. Right? And that causes friction. No, the entire nation, if we would live peacefully together, would just go up. But everybody's trying to kill the other side's machine, which is part of their world. I mean, we're all tied together in an economy. So if you're killing a Democrat as a Republican, you're killing part of the economy. I mean, the things that people probably knew inside for centuries. But I'm one of the few that speak out. So y'all owe me money. I would get it to me. Again, just fix my VA. Send me all the VA you owe me from when the deep state attacked me before Texas, actually, in Oklahoma and Texas. Right? If they weren't attacking me, I guarantee it would have been approved. Right. Thanks, Larry. As soon as I get it, I'll start cleaning up this world that I'm living in here and see what they want for me to get out of here early. Again, I'm probably not going to leave before it warms up, like March or something, but I do need the money as soon as possible. I've been owed for decades. Again, I'm actually owed $1 billion from the government. When you look at cases, I'm owed $1 billion. I mean, the torture you put me through is worth $1 billion. If I had never been a sapper leader, if I wasn't with God, I wouldn't have survived. I'd be dead. Their key is to make it so you can't even get to a point of thinking about getting it into court. Well, if it went to the right judge, they would order $1 billion. I mean, I just can't get to it, Right. So they have to try to keep it out of court. And of course, control and fear the judges. So the judge would be hit with this thing. Is it really worth it? Right. You have your whole life and your family. You can continue on and get richer and all that, or you can rule in favor of this guy. But I think there's some judges that would. Right. You have to understand what you're doing in the Trump administration looks like the deep state. Most times, the judges don't know who the deep state is. It's almost like you're set up by somebody. Although they'll attack the deep state if they can, right? As far as a court process, because they never know who's attacking them. Is it the government or is it the other side of the case? Right. I mean, sometimes maybe they do, but a lot of times because you don't know, even if you think you know. The only way to do it is with a process like FBI, and they won't look at it. Right. Thank you, Orange. Oh, I was going to talk about ICE. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I did say, didn't I tell you just to do your jobs professionally? Right. Don't buy into the bullshit, because we'll be in court, and then there'll be some remedy that we have to meet, and it'll encumber everything. Right. Just do everything clean and by the book the best you can. If you need people, request people. That's why I'm throwing these ideas at you. Again, I don't know when you could build this stuff or if you ever will, but military intelligence people can help you. Communications personnel can help you. Drivers can help you. And obviously, you brought MPs in, right? Special forces guys can help you because they have a lot of experience. It's a very high level position, even in the civilian sector. Their capabilities, right? Their planning capabilities, their instruction capabilities. Again, they work with people's and psychologies and civil affairs and right. And they troubleshoot issues. I mean, they can walk in and kind of troubleshoot things. So again, what I'm trying to do is help everyone focus on what we really want to do. Right? Again, what do you think is going to happen? You made it, bam! You're now retaliating against those that may have been retaliating against you. Right? Although again, like I said, there's a case there, and that's something you all need to understand, because that's what the court's going to see. So what you're doing is you're bringing up the whole Trump case again. There's no way that your attorneys are going to prevail saying that's irrelevant. It's relevant. 100%. The J6 cases will come up again. The Trump case will come up again. And what do you think is going on? The Democrats are going, now we're going to get them the same way next time. See, again, I don't care about, Trump's only one person. Elon's young. A lot of the Congress and senators are young. There's plenty of time to get them. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You're continuing what you say shouldn't happen. Again, I mean, you all could end up in jail, in prison. You're going to spend, you could do your job great otherwise for 4 years and all end up in prison because of some stupid MAGA thing. Again, the same thing as J6. Like, what are you actually doing? I mean, it's unlawful. It's unlawful as it gets. Again, the agents, maybe because the agents seem sheepish in front of you, That you think the court's going to be that way? Or are you not even thinking of it? The court has to say that that's retaliation. There's nothing else the court can do. You're tying the hands of the court. And I think, Clarence Thomas was kind of projecting that thought, that he can't help you with what you're doing. Like, he may have told you in passing that he'll try to help you with your agenda. Alito may have told somebody that or told you that. But with what you're doing, they can't help you. It's obvious retaliation. And we should be working on, all of it should just be focusing on these narcotics issues. Again, by the nature of the narcotics issue and what it's costing us, and all sorts of things. Again, Vivek brought up something, but I think the only way that Vivek's right is this narcotics issue. But where's it really coming from? I find that techies might be responsible. I found that for years. That the techies may be in cahoots with narcotics distributors and smugglers. And they use their tech advantage to know where we are and to smuggle stuff with the cartels. No, there's a secret movement within the tech world to hate cops because they all want to do drugs and have sex parties. Now, they're saying they're conservative. I think it's bullshit. Right. They're just rich enough to hide it. Talking about conservative techies. Well, they're backing conservative leaders. Doesn't mean they're conservative. Using your narcotics is not conservative. Smuggling narcotics definitely isn't. Selling narcotics definitely isn't. But if you say you're part of it, then you become what? You become untouchable. I don't think Zuckerberg smuggled narcotics, though. Some of his people might have. They were pretty nasty and dirty. Thank you, sir. So again, we have an agenda, and there's a lot of people that are counting on us. And I show that coffin with the young girl watching her friend in a coffin that the cartel killed. Now, she's probably a grown woman at this point, and it hasn't happened yet. We haven't made safe this world so those things such as that don't happen, because you're all playing a game. You're all playing a game. So now we're going to spend our energy on bullshit. I'm telling you, the Democrats aren't bringing cases yet en masse because you're still going. You're still making bigger cases. You're making their cases bigger. So, they're out there going, pounding the die in all these locations, but letting you hang yourselves. They may have been able to stop Elon Musk day one. I don't know. But why? They were sitting back and enjoying the show and pounding their fist on the table. Well, I think Elon Musk... Okay, let me explain it like this. Based upon the original ideas and appointments of Trump, of Elon Musk, it could have flew. There was nothing anybody could do. Right? But based upon what he's doing, there's probably, I mean, even the American people can sue. Right? They're in those databases. It not only agents. No, there's an agreement as to how all this works. It's in law. It's in regulation. And what are you going to tell me? I know this is the ludicrous part of it. Talk about Hillary Clinton and a server. This is how the metaphysics generally work, right? You're going to tell us because Hillary Clinton had a server, you get to do this? Then we're the people. So again, the attorneys are waiting for you to slow down, and then they'll probably launch the lawsuits. Because why say anything? Well, they have to say something. Because again, I think at a certain point it looks bad if they don't say anything. Right? But they haven't filed their cases. They're just pounding the table, making it look good. I mean, those investigators are, and then they haven't completed the investigations on who these people are. Everybody's out there gaining information. Right? Seeing if they sold drugs, used drugs, went to sex parties. Affiliations, associations. Did their parents ever put them in a mental institute for attempted suicide or something like that? I mean, we don't know. They take some LSD or some mescaline or some mushroom or something and end up, away for about a month or two. I mean, the bigger question is, why is it happening without us knowing those answers? Again, the president's allowed to give them access, but usually the way it works, again, well, it's like the FBI statement. Usually the way it works is you try to get a background investigation done. And then when they say no, then, right. So at least you have something to go off of. I guess, yeah, in the first time, like Jared and all them, they were already working, right? But you weren't anywhere you were supposed to be in my life, and definitely you all aren't supposed to be where you are in everybody's life. Now, the judges might have blackmail going on, but I think they're past that. Again, for years, there was an extortion of people online. They run stuff past you. You're supposed to freak out while they're psychologically torturing you and then do what they want. And they go away. Right. Never go away in my life. Never did. Never will. Because they're trying to kill me. So I'm like, it's like a cover story that's what it is all the time. If I would just change. Right. Thank you, Larry. But I think at this point, when they see what's going on, that psychology is going to wear off. Correct. And it's just going to get you. Until you can't move without a contempt of court finding. Again, what am I doing now? Preparing you to adhere to the court orders. Because if you don't, they'll probably hold you in contempt and put you in jail. They're not here to play a game. They know what you're doing with the pardons and everything else. So they're like, fine, this can't be pardoned. But again, if they instruct Elon to do something and he doesn't do it, they can hold him in contempt and put him in jail. So that'll slow him down. They'll put him in jail for 6 months. I'm telling you the truth. Again, ICE is out there working, everybody's out there working, and you're unprotecting their data. Well, Putin loves all of you. China loves all of you. You're opening up gaping holes in our databases. I mean, at this point, I wonder, again, they might support Elon because they have all this technology. Like, he doesn't run a secure server, and they come in, they grab it. So they keep increasing him. Why? Because they want him to do all of the NASA work. And the reality is, the other people that don't win the contract, Bezos, he runs the big, tight CIA ship in data security. See? So, of course, they want the loose guy in there, not the guy with the tight security. Are we going to make Elon the manager of TikTok? Is that the next plan? Because it'll be more secure than China? Thank you, Larry. Elon Musk, the U.S. premier of TikTok. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.